Happy Friday, beautiful souls, and welcome to Spiritually Her. This is your safe space to explore the magic of inner work, grow your confidence, and embrace your self worth as the ultimate superpower. I'm Terrika-Surrenity, your host and guide on this transformative journey. Here, we're breaking barriers, we're rewriting our stories, and stepping fully into that girl energy together. So grab your favorite drink, let's settle in, and let's vibe. Your next level starts right now. All right. All right, guys. So, welcome back to yet another episode of Spiritually Her, where we explore the inner work, the confidence, and spiritual power that helps you become that girl. Okay. Not just physically or anything like that. We're talking about spiritually. We're really digging deep into that soul work, becoming authentic, being in alignment to our higher self, and being unapologetically divine. All right. So today's guest, I'm so excited, very, very excited. If you're on TikTok, I know you've seen her. And listen, she is someone who has a presence that feels like a portal to me. When I watch her videos, I'm like all tuned in. So guys, I have Tenesha here, and she is a traveling oracle, intuitive guide, and spiritual coach who is devoted to awakening the sleeping power within us. Right? She's living life on the road in her van. I am living through her right now. And she connects with souls around the world while channeling wisdom, healing, and transformational truth. She offers psychic medium readings and one on one coaching, guiding others to awaken their divine senses and unlock their superhuman potential. Her mission is to help us remember that we were born intuitive. And in these times, a strong connection to source isn't optional, it is definitely necessary. So, today we're talking about spiritual awakenings, purpose, and what it truly means to walk through transformation and come out with clarity. All right, we're going to keep it real, raw, and very much magical, like always do. So, guys, please welcome Tenesha.
Hello, how you doing? So, I love that intro, by the way. Thank you. I mean, that was beautiful.
You're so welcome, girl. I had to
Yeah.
do my one too because give your roses and your flowers to the
Mhm.
people that deserve it and need it, especially when you're doing the work and enlightening people on the road and on the journey of doing so. So,
Yes,
thank
yes, I
you
love
for
that you said that. You're very welcome. No, and you said something that was so interesting because one of the things I love about being alive and being just, receiving messages from the other side is you get constant confirmations that everything that you're doing right now is what you're meant to do. So, more specifically, I like to call our gifts that we all have divine senses.
Mm.
And when you said divine, I was like, okay, here's another confirmation. And it basically, at least once every couple of days, someone reminds me of the word divine, divine, divine. And I'm like, that's so beautiful because it's a reminder of our own divinity, the divinity that is connected to source energy or the God frequency, regardless of what you want to call it. So, I don't know. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. So thank you for that.
See, I love it. The synchronicities are always synchronicity, whatever that
Yeah.
word is, but you guys get it. It's always
Synchronizing.
happening. So, Tanisha, for those who may not be aware of you, your work, your journey, I know that you are a dream walker. Can you enlighten those on what it means to be a dream walker?
Absolutely. So wow, it started off with me focusing on my dreams. That's how I knew for sure that there was something really going on where I needed to focus more on and put more attention into. So let's see. When I would say roughly 16 or 17 years old, I had a dream of seeing a paternal father figure somewhere down south in Florida. I asked my mom about it. I was like, this is the dream I had. And she was just like, oh, it's just a dream. And she wrote it off. We moved on with our lives, right? I
Hmm.
would say roughly 10 years later, I had another dream. This time it was a little bit more detailed. It was really vivid. And they had me floating around Miami area in Florida. And they're like, father figure, father figure. And I'm like, mom, once again, is my father who you say he is, or is there someone else? And she once again told me that there was nothing to the dream. So fast forward a couple years later, I receive a message on Facebook, and it's this person who's claiming to be my father. And I was just like, immediately, you're a scam artist. I have no money. Go screw yourself. And he was just like, well, no, hold on. This is what your mom looked like when I met her, blah, 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 blah. And these were the years that she was in Miami. So I was just like, okay, this is a lot. And by mind you, I'm 31 years old when he sends me this message on Facebook. 31 years old. So I'm like, put two and two together, call my mom one last time. And I said, Mom. She denied it again, but then an hour later, she called me back. She said, come over. We're going to talk about something. So
Oh goodness.
long
How
story
did
short, yeah, long story short, she tells me that, my father did exist and it wasn't the person that I thought he was. It's this other guy. He does live in Miami. He's lived in Miami his entire life, et cetera, et cetera. But the most important part of the story is the fact that I saw it in my dream first. I also met my previous husband in my dream before I met him. I also, let's see, what else happened? Oh, I saw my mom pass away in my dream. I met my future partner in my dream. So it's just so interesting because the dreams is, how would I say, our dreams are basically another avenue to the spiritual realm. Some people will even argue and say that it's reality, and what we're living right now in reality is actually a dream realm. So I started digging into that, and then obviously that led to general spirituality, learning about what an aura is, learning about what meditation is. And mind you, this is all happening right after my mom has passed. So I'm going through a major spiritual awakening. I
Yeah.
quit my 9 to 5. I had worked really hard to get this job and I quit, left that place. Um, Decided to go ahead and get a divorce after 13 years of being with someone. And that's when my journey in my van started. I decided to go ahead and eventually buy a van and then live in it full time. And this is actually where I'm at right now.
Oh, it looks so peaceful.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. I love it. And unfortunately, I did start this journey with my cat, and she is no longer here with me. She did go missing recently, so I'm kind of by myself right now. Um,
Oh.
Thank you. but but to go back to your question, my journey started with me paying attention to my dreams, and then it snowballed into me learning more about the terms and generalities and modalities when it comes to spirituality. And I realized the most important lesson that I've realized recently is that or on this journey is that it's not has nothing to do with learning what everything is. It's just being able to surrender to the process, knowing that every conflict, every something, every challenge that I have in my life is meant to help me grow, you know?
Mm.
And then it's for me to receive that information after I grow from it, to be able to say, okay, this is a new version of me. I accept her, but mainly I don't judge the previous versions of myself for the choices that she made. I am who I am right now, and I'm excited for the next version of myself that's to come. But for right now, I accept her.
I love that. I love that analogy because I feel like sometimes I know for myself through my spiritual awakening, I had an aha moment of, so my first name is Terrika and Serenity is like my spirit name.
Mm.
And anything that I would do that I would consider good would be Serenity. And Terrika would be, oh no, she's, like she's the one that got in trouble when she was little. She was one that did this. And in 2020, I had an aha moment that I separated myself and I no longer love Terrika and embrace Serenity, but I am both. And I have to embrace both and love every part of myself and understand every part of myself. And I feel like that was very powerful because a lot of people disassociate with certain things that happen in their life or certain time periods and moments, but really realizing that we're changing, evolving, growing, healing all the time. So that was powerful. That was powerful.
Absolutely. Yes. It always comes down to self-love at the end of the day. That's the foundation. That's what I talk about all the time. No matter how much you want to break it down, it always, at your core, you have to be able to love yourself where you are right now, where you have been, and where you will be in the future without jumping ahead and saying, I'm not going to embrace who I am now because the future self is waiting for me. It's like, you have to move into that spot right now. Yes, you can. You can jump timelines. You can do things like that. You can live in the future, so they say. But what's most important is being able to say, this version I love. I love her because she went through experiences that she needed to go through.
And give yourself the props and the pats on the back, because that version of you that went through all of that stuff that made you stronger, more resilient, she did that. Period. And she deserved love, grace, ease, and everything else. So
Exactly.
that's amazing. Now, going into your dreams. When you brought up like how you were seeing, like the location of your father, and it's like you've been seeing it for years. I have um I guess a situation that was kind of close, but I haven't gotten my, I guess, confirmation yet. For me, I have been receiving messages from my father who is deceased in my dreams. The first message came maybe when I was like 18 or 19, and he came to my dream saying I had a little brother.
Mm.
And mind you, I'm the baby, so I'm not trying to hear that there's somebody after me. And I was literally angry. I woke up upset. Like, you've never came to me in a dream and you come to me talking about another child. The audacity. But he stopped coming and he came back when I got older. And now I think at this time I was like maybe 28, 29, and I was pregnant. And most times he comes to me when I'm pregnant too. I guess that's a portal that leaves me a little bit more open. Um, but he came to me again talking about this brother, and I was more receptive. And I was like, okay, well, how do I find him? And I felt like I was looked at a little crazy calling everybody. I was trying to remember because I was 8 when he died. Like, how am I supposed to know who you were with? But um, he was giving me like dropping gems in each dream. And I feel like I found him and I reached out to him, but I'm in this space of like, okay, how do I connect this without? And it's crazy because when I saw his picture, he looks identical to my
Mm.
father. And I showed my mom and my sister because they thought I was crazy. And they looked and they was like, oh my God, you might be on to something. So to hear you talk about your journey with your messages, guidance through dreams and being shown certain things and just walking through, even with your past partners, future partners, that is amazing. And I don't think people are aware that we have this gift and we just shut them out as if that's not possible. That means nothing. And I just thought that was really, really, really nice to hear.
Thank you. Of course. Yeah. And what's beautiful about dreams is because it's the easiest way for our ancestors, our guides to reach out to us and give us messages because we're not distracted. Our human brains are not really turned on. We're not, resisting the message because society tells us all coincidences and things like that. So most of us receive messages through dreams first. And then when we start asking the right questions, when we start opening up a little bit more, that's when we can receive messages successfully when we're awake. But it starts in the dreams for the most part.
That's deep. So, guys,
Yeah.
if you are dreaming some things, get you a dream journal. And, guys, be open, be receptive, because you'll be surprised at the messages that comes through.
Yes.
And all right, so Tanisha, Another question. So, throughout your spiritual awakening, I know you stated that your spiritual awakening happened around the time that your mom passed, but was there ever like a moment where you were like scared to fully come out as like a spiritual guide or a dream walker?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like, so there's a couple of different things. Growing up, I was allowed to watch a lot of horror movies, right? So
Mhm.
my connection with the paranormal, supernatural, spiritual realm was from a very black and white point of view for a long time. I thought that, I would say the word ghosts and I would say demons before I said anything about spirit guides. So because I had that point of view when I first started one of my many spiritual awakenings after my mom passed, I had to reframe the way my mind thought. I needed to relearn what my truth was, and completely get rid of all of the conditioned bullcrap that the entertainment industry has given me, right? Given us. So
Yes.
let's see. I had to do more. I read a lot of books. One of the books that I read was Journey of Souls by Michael Newton. He's a past life regression hypnotherapist. It's really long. So he hypnotizes people and he focuses on their past lives. And in this, in his recording and the information that he receives from them, you get a chance to see why people are the way that they are because it's based on their past lives. So I was like, okay, if we have past lives, then I wonder what quirks I have that came from a little boy in India or something when I was that person or when I was just in another life in general. So I started learning more about that. And what was your question again, by the way? I completely lost it.
It's okay. The question was there ever a moment where you felt like afraid or scared to like fully come out as a dream walker?
Thank you. Thank you. So, yes,
Okay.
going back to that is when the more I started learning, the more I felt like I was behind. I felt like I didn't know as much as I should. I felt like a lot of my life was wasted because there was this other world that I knew nothing about. Even though that's not true, we are always constantly tapping into it, whether we're realizing or not. With the dreams, especially with hearing voices, our ears ringing, that's us receiving messages without us realizing. So, yes, I was afraid. Yes, I noticed that one of the things I've always been able to do is when people are speaking to me, I can see a movie playing behind my eyes. I didn't realize it was actual visions. So with that, as you know, with seeing spirits and seeing a vision of something that has happened or will happen, the first thing I thought is, okay, if I'm going to see spirits, then that means I'll probably see demons as well. I'll see dark entities that I don't want to see. So in the beginning, I started asking for my gifts to strengthen and for my mindset, the mindset that I need to have to be in alignment with someone whose gifts have strengthened. I also put up rules and parameters around my future gifts. I said, I want to start seeing spirits more, but I do not want to see them in this form, a dark form. I don't want to see them 3 o'clock in the morning, in the corner of my room. I don't want to see that.
I
And
feel you.
yeah, and this is where I learned that you can actually ask for things and get exactly what you want. And it might not look the way or it might not seem the way that you wanted, that you asked for it, but it's going to come that way. So my gifts started strengthening. I don't see spirits all the time. I only see them when I need to in my readings. I'll be able to connect with your ancestors when I ask. Another thing too is, let's see, what was I going to mention? Ah, I guess the only other thing that I feared with taking on the role of a psychic medium was that I wasn't worthy enough for it. So
Mm,
I felt like a lot of mediums, a lot of psychics have been honing their abilities their entire lives. I felt like it was not my place to give myself that title, which is, again, it's a whole imposter syndrome, ego thing.
yeah.
Once I started breaking that down, then I said, okay, I'm going to listen to my guides who were very clearly telling me to get my butt on TikTok. And they said, you want that financial independence that you asked for? You want to be able to make money and drive around in different states, wherever you want to go? Then do it. I'm getting a message right now. Sorry. Ah,
Oh, I love this.
I'm
No,
getting a
I
message
love
right now.
it.
So they're reminding me to get back to where I originally said that I was going to do, like what I specifically said I was going to do. And that was to continue journeying, continue traveling and helping people and not be stuck and complacent again. But going back to what I was saying was that I had to come to the realization that we're all psychic mediums before I allowed myself to take on that title. And that was only 5 months ago. So
Oh, I feel that. I feel that because I struggle with the same thing where I have these gifts and certain things growing up, I thought they were normal for other people. And then I started to like tell other people, and they were like, girl, that's not normal, and shut that down. And so, even when it comes to now and embracing it, I kind of still struggle with the imposter syndrome of calling myself psychic medium and etc. Also, it because I feel like I haven't like tuned it to the point where I can shut it on and off. It's like when it happens, it just happens. I don't know
yes.
how, I don't know why, but it does. And I think it's always someone that you tell somebody and they're like, oh, well, tell me what I'm thinking. Oh my God. Like, please. Do you get that a lot? Just people
Oh
just
man. No, surprisingly I don't, which is really interesting. I haven't had the a negative experience doing this at all. And I haven't
that's
even
good.
had anyone that wants to out me or call me out or to judge my gifts. It's really interesting. Actually, I'm really grateful for that because I haven't experienced that at all. And but even so, I've done 300 plus readings altogether, private readings and TikTok readings, right? And I
Yeah.
still, right before a reading that I'm about to, or a session with someone, I still have a little bit of nervousness. There's still a pang of nervousness inside of me. Like, what if I'm not able to connect? Even though it makes no sense because I'm able to always connect,
Yeah.
it's still there. And that's just kind of something that we have to work through. That's part of um our experiences, our traumas and things like that. It starts somewhere. When did you first start doubting yourself? And was it because someone said something or you did something and whatever it is. So I have to keep working on that. But for the most part, what I'm doing right now, my mission, my purpose is more important than me being uncomfortable.
Yes. Okay. That was confirmation. Clock that. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head because I know that with a lot of the viewers and the community of Spiritually Heard, it's almost like that fear of just stepping into your purpose, stepping into your calling. Because what if no one else sees the calling? No one else validates it. And they have fear of like, I don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't want to get on stage, but it's a part of your purpose. So that was very vital and important to your purpose and the people that you're going to help in the process. That is more important. It's bigger than you, it's bigger than your discomfort. So, guys, go out and do it.
Yes.
Just
And
do it.
exactly. And it doesn't have to look like everyone. Like you don't have to have a large platform. You don't have to have content. You don't have to put yourself out there if you don't want to. Just remember that in helping people, let me rephrase that. You can't control how many people you are impacting. You can't control that. You wake up in the morning, you say, I get to do things instead of I have to do things. You go to Subway for lunch and you have a nice short conversation with the cashier, and that could be enough. That momentum started just you being your authentic self, and that is the most important thing. And maybe they go tell someone else what you said, and it just continues a domino effect. And it's just like it's a beautiful thing. So you don't have to be on stage talking to millions of people. It starts by simply you waking up and then just being or having gratitude for being here.
I love it. I love it. Because a lot of times we feel like it has to be on this grand scale, and
Mhm.
we go through comparisons, we go through being seen, but it can start off where you are, when you are there, and just intuitively acting out on what you're supposed to be acting out on.
Mhm.
Right. So, like feeling that nudge of, speaking to someone, or saying something to someone, or you hear something and you're just like, well, XYZ, you're still in purpose, you're still within calling, and don't worry about the, I guess, the outpour or the response. Just do what feels right and aligned.
Yes. It's so hard to do that though. And I just want to, mention that I completely understand why someone will take what I just said and just say, you know what, that sounds great, but it's hard to do that because we're so focused on what our family thinks, our peers think. We're so focused on making money, being financially secure, and I get that. I understand that. But if we can get through our minds that you can have everything that you want and still be happy at the same time and still have everything that you need in this life, then like that's really my goal. That's my goal, is to just give people that, or help people get to that confidence level. So we're humans, we want to see evidence, right? We want to
Yes.
see that we want to see that what I'm talking about, what other, speakers are talking about, whether it be spiritual leaders or motivational speakers or whatever. We want to see that this works before we even try it. So anyone listening right now, I task you with creating your own experiment. You know, get your own evidence. Don't wait for someone else to give you a confirmation. Don't wait for the universe to shift your entire reality for you because you're afraid to do it yourself.
Mhm.
Test yourself. Ask for something small, watch it come through, and then build on that. Because I guarantee you already have evidence. You just haven't thought of it yet. You've already had things come into your reality that you've asked for in the past. But then when you get it, you're like, oh, that's because I worked really hard and I did this. And that's because it was given to me. No, 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 no. You asked for it and then you received, and that's it. Don't put anything else on it. How it comes in is none of your business. When it comes in is none of your business. You just have to believe that it's coming. And that's it. Everything else is ego.
Facts. Facts. She's dropping bars, guys. She's preaching.
I'm talking to someone right now, you know what I'm
Girl, you talking to me.
saying?
Because literally it would be in my head. And I know a lot of other people of like, I feel this energy and it's like, it's going to happen and I know it. So recently I have been, girl, we're kind of like in, I don't want to say we're kind of in the same boat, but it's like where I had to leave a 9 to 5. I had to leave a marriage and literally walk down a path that has not been paved. And it's scary. And spirit has been pushing me to, okay, you need to use your voice. You have to tell your story. Open up your throat chakra. The old me, I'll just post a pretty picture and I'm on mute. I'm not saying nothing. I just have all these thoughts and nobody will ever hear them. So stepping out in that discomfort and just being like, look, I'm doing it, but like, when y'all gonna help me out here? Because I'm struggling. But then I always get this confirmation that even if my bank account balance isn't where I want it to be, I literally have everything that I need. I can walk into a store and be like, I only have this to get groceries. All of a sudden, someone there's behind me that's like, oh, yeah, I'm paying for her groceries. What? Like, how everything is aligned and how your spirit team really works. And they're like, I told you, I got you.
Yes. Yes.
So when are you going to stop doubting yourself and doubting us? You are on the right path. Don't worry about the when. Just do it.
Yes.
So you were talking to
Always.
me.
Exactly. And for those of you that are struggling in the ways that you just mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to add that if you believe, and this is super simple, if you believe that you're not going to be okay this time, think about all the times where you felt that and you were okay. And that it came out exactly what you thought it was going to come out. You basically had everything that you needed ultimately, right?
Yes,
So why is this time different?
you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I think for a lot of us, it's just that PTSD, maybe
Yes.
our own self-sabotaging ways in the past or just needing to have control
Hmm.
so much. And with my name Serenity, I heard that name when I was like 5, and the
Hmm.
spelling, which means surrender to peace indefinitely. So my whole path is about surrendering, which is
Hmm.
hard as hell.
It is. It is because we've been taught that the things happen to us because we started the momentum for them to happen. But let's keep that same energy. If you want to believe that, then believe that your mindset also is the indicator to you having what you need and what you want in your life. You know, if that's the
Yeah.
case, then wouldn't you being a positive, thinking that you're thinking of yourself in a positive way, thinking of your situation in a positive way, regardless of what your situation is right now in your life, knowing that, how would I say this? Knowing that as long as you are having fun and you're following inspired action, and inspired action is exactly what it sounds like. It's you getting an idea and you saying, you know what, that feels good. I'm excited to do that. I'm going to go ahead and just do it and then take action. That's one of the pieces of manifestation right now, by the way. So when you manifest something, it's not that you're just sitting on your couch, you know, meditating and you're trying to, you know, get into the right frequency or vibration of the thing that you're bringing in. It's also when you get the idea and the hits of inspiration, you're taking action and you're not doubting yourself. So if you all of a sudden get an idea to call someone you haven't spoken to in a long time, don't question it. Call them.
Just call them.
It's going to be the most random thing. They're going to have a conversation with you and they're going to bring up, I don't know, some sort of new activity that they're doing. And you're like, you know what, that sounds really interesting. Let's hang out. You hang out, you meet someone. Next thing you know, you just met your future husband or something. Or now you have an amazing job opportunity. So it's basically, in short, all I'm saying is we don't need to know all the pieces of the puzzle. Just trust that every piece that we receive is meant to be a whole. It's meant to lead us to the thing that we want, that we need.
Yes. And I think when people start to think and realize just how things have been connected in their life, like, oh, yeah, when I did go to this place, this happened, or I met this person, or I got this job, I had this opportunity. I didn't want to go out this day, but I went, and all of a sudden I landed this. So I think a lot of people will put two and two together. I think we just get stuck in our own head and
Yes. We get
and
stuck in the identity that we created for ourselves.
yes,
And if
we
we don't,
have to unlearn.
exactly. And if we, and I got a phone call, so hopefully it didn't mess up the meeting here.
Oh
But
no, it didn't. It's okay.
okay, perfect. And if what we're doing, if our identity no longer matches what we remember or what we feel is necessary, then we start kind of freaking out. We get scared. We're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing wrong? Am I still on the right path? I need to go speak to a psychic. You know, like, and I'm not saying anything
Let
bad
me
about
book a
myself.
reading.
And I do want to add something here too. For those of you that are watching this and you know you have spiritual gifts or divine senses, as I like to call them, and there's something that's keeping you from actually stepping into that power more, I want to add a lot of my sessions that I have with people, if not all of them, they ask me questions that also pertain to myself. And the messages that I receive from their guides and my guides are messages for me as well. And it gives me chills when I say that because it happens all the time. And I sometimes I really can't stand it because I'm like, this is about them. I was not trying to hear all that. This has nothing to do with me. I don't want to hear it. I'll meditate later, like chill out, you know. But the message is for me as well. So it's the fact that we are a unity consciousness. It's the fact that we are quantum, what is it called? Quantum entanglement. We're all connected energetically, right? So why
Yeah,
wouldn't the message be for you as well? So do that, do the readings if you are, you know, inspired to do them, but do it in the mindset that you're not just helping them, but you're also helping yourself.
awesome. Awesome. Because I've noticed that I've noticed that too. Or even when you scroll on TikTok and you see like the collective readings and the messages. And sometimes I would just look back at my own videos and I'm just like, that resonates. Like it's because we're all connected. We're all connected. It might pinpoint in different areas in different ways because we're all different, but we're ultimately the same in a sense too. So that is amazing, and I'm glad we dug deep into that because there's a lot of people that do have these divine senses and they struggle with fully accepting it or just going after it or just trusting their intuition, trusting those gifts. And I know that for some people who maybe they have stepped out on it, what would be the advice you would give them to how they can stay spiritually confident in it? Like, how can they really? Because I know sometimes we get days where we're like, "Ugh, am I? Is
Right. Yeah.
question things. How can they stay spiritually confident?
Yeah, it's tough, and I'll be honest with you, it just comes in waves. Sometimes we just doubt ourselves, and that's just part of being human, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Remaining confident all the time is not an easy thing to do. So the best thing first is to not judge yourself for doubting your abilities first. Second would be something that someone asked me recently, and this is really common for most of us. I will even say that we mix our intuition up with our anxiety and our fears, and we don't know which one what emotion we're feeling in that moment. So the most important thing is to remember that you're not doing this alone. You have a whole soul team on the other side, football field of people behind you waiting for you to ask for help, waiting for you to ask for more clarity, because that's why they're there. So remember that if you're in that moment where you're trying to make a decision and you're just not sure, like you feel it in your gut, but you also feel it in your heart. And the reason why I bring that up is because they always say trust your gut or trust your heart. It's like, well, which one is which? Like what
Yeah.
like how do I do this? The first thing I like to do is, first of all, pull over because you're probably driving, or you're distracted or something. Go do a quick breathing exercise. And this is really easy, by the way, but do a breathing exercise and then give yourself permission, and then give your guides permission to give you the answer that you need in that moment. So that's more of a subconscious thing. And the most important thing is asking out loud. Ask your question. Don't be afraid to ask a long question or a short question. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a response before you even finish answering or asking your question, because they've been waiting for you to ask. You
Yeah. They're
know?
waiting.
Now, this is really important too. There's something called dominant senses. So once again, I said earlier that we all have these gifts. I want to go further and say we all have the same gifts, right? We just have them in different levels. So some people might see, they might, how would I say this? They might be more visual, right? That's their most dominant sense. Or they might hear things. That's their most dominant sense. Clairvoyance, clairaudience. So when you're sitting down and you're asking your soul family a question and you're giving them permission as well as yourself, how you receive the message will be your dominant sense. So you might hear something, you might feel something, you might see something, but at the end of the day, know that whatever you're feeling is the message. You just have to decipher it. In order for you to decipher it, don't forget that you have support. So,
That's good. That
yeah.
is really, really good. Because
And I do want to add one more thing. I'm sorry. I want to add
yeah,
one
yeah,
more
yeah.
thing.
Go ahead.
It takes practice. That's the most important thing. It takes a little bit of time and practice depending on how, I guess I'll say, depending on how conditioned you are, depending on how deep in the matrix you've gone. So if you're right on the outer limit and you're like, you know what? I know that none of this is real. I know this is probably code, and I'm slowly becoming the virus to the code, but I'm a friendly virus. I get a chance to control this game that I'm in, the system that I'm in. But some
Mhm.
people are so deep in the matrix that they're still walking around and they're closer to the virus, I'm sorry, to the code than they are the virus. That's supposed to change everything. So it's so
Mm.
funny because I always end up going right back to computers and things like that. That's just kind of how my mind works. But we want to do is remember that we're in a game right now. So what
Yeah.
role do you want to play? Who are you? What character are you going to choose? What choices are you going to make? And know that every choice that you make is going to determine the end of the game. But remember, that's never an end of the game. It constantly continues. You could play it as many times as you want. You just be a different character. So if we look at it like that, then know that no matter what, you're going to be okay. No matter what, you have an infinite amount of support on the other side. So that one decision that you're trying to make, you will get your answer. Just don't judge yourself for the choice that you make.
Woo. I know a lot of people needed to hear that. I needed to hear that. Tons of people needed to hear that. And when you look at life as a game, it makes it lighter.
Yes.
And I was telling my oldest son, he's 17 and he is, you know, about to graduate next school year, and he's just frantic about what am I going to do? What is it? It's like, yeah, whatever you want to do. Like the options are endless. It is
Yes.
endless, and you can be whoever you want to be. And that's like the niche or notion when it comes down to this podcast, the journey of, becoming your higher self, whoever you want your higher self to be, but tapping into that confidence, that authentic feeling, love, emotion, excitement, creativity, whatever it looks like to those who are listening, whoever you want to be. And to know that you have that support, the spirit team that is there, even when you question yourself, that you can ask for help, you can ask for signs and guidance, that you're not on your own. And I feel like it brings comfort to know that you're not by yourself, even when you feel like you're by yourself and you're in your room crying and feeling like, woe is me, you're still not alone, and they are there just waiting for you to tap in, to like
Yes.
pick up the phone, to literally call in to get that assistance. Now, I noticed that you brought up like the anxiety and intuition. Now, how can one decipher? I know we brought up like the gut and the heart, but is there maybe like a certain sign to know whether it is your intuition that is talking to you, or anxiety or fear or just like self-doubt?
Absolutely. It's all about your feelings and being able to figure out the source of why you're feeling a specific thing. So, let's say for instance you are feeling anxious. What do we know about anxiety? Anxiety comes from fear, right?
Yeah.
So, there's something called a heart brain coherence, and I believe it was either Dr. Joe Dispenza or Greg Braden. And I think it's Dr. Joe Dispenza, but he created this term, right? And it's the idea that our brains, I'm sorry, our hearts are actually have more neurons than our brains do, meaning that all the decisions that we make are from our hearts. So,
Mm-hmm.
that being said, when we feel that anxiety and we're feeling and we have this fear, a lot of that's from our brains. That's from experiences that we've dealt with in the past. And yes, they make us feel it in our gut because the fear is also in our gut as well. But if we can break it down and say, you know what, I have this anxiety. What's it stemming from? Okay, it's stemming from the fact that if I do this thing again, that's similar to the thing I did last time, where it didn't work out, then it might happen again. And there's this acronym, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's really popular now, but it's called fear, false evidence appearing real.
Mm-hmm.
So false evidence appearing real. It's just basically a reenactment of something that we've already dealt with in the past. So again, in short, to break down anxiety coming from fear and whether what you're feeling right now in that moment is actually fear or not, are you thinking about something that's happened in the past? You know, because that's coming up, because that's a huge indication that what you're feeling is the anxiety and fear. And then as far as intuition, and intuition starts in the heart and gut. It starts when in your body first, more than anything. You start feeling a certain thing, and then your brain starts trying to catch up and deciphering what that feeling might be. So when you meet someone, for example, and you have this gut feeling and it's uncomfortable, and you know that you've had that feeling before and you've met someone very similar, and that person, I don't know, for example, would be a very spiritual person. When I meet people who are so connected, who are so successfully receiving messages from the other side, I immediately, like, my intuition is just like boom, oh my goodness, they're making me uncomfortable. But it's a good uncomfortable. It's because I'm feeling their energy. And I'm really hoping I'm getting my point across here, because it's really
You
tricky because
are.
okay, good, because the feelings are so similar, but that's where the support comes in. Because once you figure out, just like when you're in school and you're trying to work on a math problem, once you get the answer for this problem, you can duplicate it again, regardless of the numbers that are being used. Does that
Yeah.
make any sense?
Yes. It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And it helps people decipher the anxiety versus the intuition.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's tricky. It's
yeah,
hard, but
it
you
is.
figure.
It is. And like you said, with all of this with anything, it takes practice. It
Yes.
takes practice. I know sometimes when I'm channeling and etc., and I'll just be writing stuff down, and then because it'll just come to me, and then I read back and be like, was I just writing stuff, or was that really something that was coming through? But it's like I couldn't get it out of my head. So I, why would I think of that? It was nothing that would pinpoint as to like, oh, there was a fear
There's
of
a
mine.
source.
Yeah, it was.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was second guessing that. And I know sometimes with a lot of people, it's like, well, I don't know what to listen to when it comes down to relationships, or I got this negative feeling, like pinpointing why.
Oh my goodness. Can I
Pinpointing,
give you another example?
yes.
So I'm in a relationship right now and I met him about 3 months ago, right? And when I
Mhm.
first met him, I'm talking about like, and this is in person, I felt like this super uncomfortable gut feeling. I was just like, this isn't right. This feeling, maybe I'm not supposed to be here. Maybe he's actually kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I don't know. But all my alarm systems in my body are going off. And then I remembered that it's a similar feeling to someone else who is spiritual. But I was just like, he's never told me that he's been seeing, that he's I wouldn't say gifted, I'm sorry, that he has divine senses that he uses successfully. He hasn't said anything. Fast forward 3 months, I literally just like 2 weeks ago, um, he revealed to me that he actually sees spirits all the time. Not like me, where I call them and he sees them everywhere.
Wow.
Yes. And I was just like, wait. And mind you, again, my cat's missing. Haven't seen her in a couple weeks. He tells me, I see your cat walking around. She's passed. And I'm like, first I was mad. I was like, wait, so I've been crying about my cat and you've been seeing her spirit walking around me, didn't say anything.
Right. Like, why didn't you tell me?
Like, what? And then I realized his mindset when it comes to the spiritual realm is very different than my own. For him, it's not a necessity to be connected. To him, there's still a lot of fear. And he doesn't feel like it's important for him to be, you know, um, to use his gifts, to use his senses. So
Mm,
I was like, okay, so if that's the case, the last thing you want to do is go around telling people that you have them, that you have these abilities, right?
yeah.
So, and unfortunately, that included telling me that he's seeing my cat who's passed away, apparently. So I had to, let it go. And I was just like, I'm not trying to pressure you, but I would love to know more about your gifts. And he's been telling me little by little, what his experiences are, which are amazing. But I say that to say that that feeling that I felt when I first met him, now I understand why. He's another person who is extremely, extremely connected. And my body was alerting me to that, that he's
Mm,
actually very spiritual and just doesn't access it in the way that I do. So I was like, okay,
mm.
well, that wasn't, it wasn't my body telling me to run the other way. It was my body telling me like, hey, he's, really there. So
I wonder if, like, because I'm trying to like pinpoint with like certain energies I felt. I feel like currently, since dating and stuff, and I just ended a relationship, but I can talk about, I'll talk about the one I just ended not so long ago.
Mhm.
But it's certain things and nudges I would get would be like, something's not right here. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. Something's just not right. And I was just thinking it was just like a fear of like, okay, well, it's probably you because what you experienced in the past. But I don't think it was I think it was definitely my intuition because I wasn't fearful. I wasn't fearful, like, oh my God, I don't want to give him my heart because I'm afraid he's going to break it. No, it was like, here, take it, take my heart. But it was just like intuitively, it was like, no, no,
Mm,
you're not seeing everything clearly. And
yes.
I noticed myself just become very calm,
Hmm.
which is not like me. I'm a Leo. I'm a little fiery. So when I became calm, it's like intuitively, I knew, I felt it, I processed it, and it was just like, okay, I knew it. It is what it is. And learning to trust your intuition. I don't know
Yes.
if I've ever had like the strong sense of feeling with someone that is like very um, that has divine senses.
Mhm.
I don't know if I have that feeling. I probably have. I probably just was like, I don't know, something's off and just left it alone. But I don't know if I felt that, but mostly my triggers, I don't want to say triggers, my alerts
Mhm.
are just for like, mm, and just for protection. Like, I think it's like I can hear like someone be like, like literally. And in the process of dating, now I can have a good time, but my intuition knows this won't go
Yes.
past here.
Yes,
It
and I'm
won't.
telling you, like it. How do we know? It's going to be a question for years to come, for the rest of your life, because you got to remember, like a lot. Okay, sorry, a lot of the messages that we receive are from different versions of us in the future. They're also from our ancestors. They're from our spirit guides. So yeah, you're connected now. Now you can hear, but then you start wondering. I just asked this question and they gave me an answer, but wait, who gave me the answer? So another thing to add, and this is why it's important to have a practice. And this is almost like not even a safeguard for your soul and your spirit, but it's also kind of like a disclosure for the guys that want to give you all the information, because they have their own motives as well. And that motive is simply for you to be happy. But what if that happiness comes in different forms? So you have to be clear when when you're talking about your practice and when you're connecting, is that you say instead, can you give me an answer about X, Y, and Z? But just know that I really want to have fun right now. And I don't believe I'm ready to do anything, have anything serious. Or X, Y, I don't know. I can't think of an example right now. But if you can just add that in, then you're going to get the right person to connect with. And that being, I guess I would say instead, that spirit is going to give you the answers that you need in that moment.
I'm gonna have to notate that. I'm
It's
gonna have to
tough,
notate
but
that.
this is literally how it's supposed to be since we were born. We've just been, I guess I'll use the word conditioned again. We've been conditioned to believe that it's all about going to school, getting married, having children, going to college, getting a job, and then working into your, 60 years old. But that's because the system wanted us to work for them. They want our energy, they want our loosh,
Mm,
So we're not going to give that to them. What we're going to do instead is say, I want to have fun, I'm going to be happy, and know that everything that I do as my authentic self is going to create waves and unity consciousness and help everyone. If I decide not to ever have children, that's okay. If I decide not to ever get married, that's okay. So we're reconstructing what we've been taught. And part
yes.
of that, exactly, I started to cut you off, but part of that is also learning that everything you're learning when it comes to spirituality was something that was your birthright from the beginning and was taken from us. So now you're growing down instead of growing up. You're growing down and you're relearning who you are, who you're meant to be.
Mm. There's this question I want to ask you. Because for some time I have been noticing just this shift within the world, but for me, I mostly see it within women and the divine feminine energy of just kind of like taking our power back or taking, you know, our voice, you know what I'm saying, our decisions and just being, I don't know, just not being under anyone's thumb anymore. So I'm going to ask you, what shifts do you see around either just culture, the world? What shifts are you noticing?
Ooh, people can't ignore what their body's telling them anymore. We're feeling the ascension in the world. We're feeling the earth shift. And some people are still afraid. And those are the people that you see online saying, oh, I'm going to the new earth. I'm not going to experience the upcoming war. It's like, no, no, no. Let me remind you, you're seeing signs of it in this reality because you were meant to be here. You chose to be here to experience it. So don't try to run now. You're part of this. We're all on the front lines of this upcoming war, and the war is in the spiritual, not the physical. First, it has been. It's been going on. It's been brewing for a long time now. So what I see happening is people realizing just how powerful they are, and it has nothing to do with physical power. It's all to do with mental. And when you walk into the coffee shop, instead of saying, hey, how's the weather? What are you doing today? How's your weekend? It's going to be, what have you, how have you ascended over the weekend?
Mm.
What spirit guide did you connect with? What did you learn about source energy? What do you call your source energy? Do you believe in the God frequency? It's how do you define, um, I'm thinking of the Trinity right now for some reason. How do you define Christ consciousness in your life? So those are the conversations are going to be had in the future. And by the future, I mean at least, 5 to 10 years. We already have extraterrestrials that have been here since the dawn of time, and they're showing themselves more. We already know about telepathy even more because of what's going on with autistic children and
Yes.
JFK creating an archive, and there's a reason for that, but we're not going to go into it. So that'll be a whole other conversation. But we're already seeing signs of the this reality shifting, and we're shifting together, and that's why we're talking about it. We need to keep talking about it. We need to keep being vulnerable and keep sharing our experiences. It's really important. So to answer your question, I see a whole new earth, and the new earth is us embodying our true selves, but also not just keeping it to ourselves, but helping as many people as possible.
Mm, exactly. Which you are already doing by being on this podcast, by doing the work that you do, the coachings, and really getting people to tap into their divine senses and realize that everyone has access to our team on the other side, to guidance, to things that support us along this journey. So that's amazing.
Thank
All
you.
right. So I want to go into when it comes down to what you do or what we do.
Mhm.
I'll just say that what we do. I know sometimes that this path can be lonely to some sort, but most importantly, it can be hard to walk that path, especially if you haven't had anyone in front of you, like, like family that walk that path that can help you down it. We know we have our spirit team and everything, but to walk down a path that hasn't been paved, but still bring people with you down the journey, like, how has that been for you?
Oh, I think it's tough for everyone when they start going through a big spiritual awakening, because what always happens is there's this moment of, what's the exact word? Feeling arrogant in a way that you are better than another person who isn't as awakened as you are or woke as you are. And there's always a shift afterwards, for a lot of people, including myself, where we're like, wait a second, that's wrong for me to think that way. My family, my friends, my peers, they are where they are just like I was. Everyone has a theme of consciousness, and we're not supposed to judge them for their theme of consciousness. What we're supposed to do and say instead is say, I'm sorry, what we're supposed to do instead is say that I would like to, how would I say this, attract my tribe based on my current theme of consciousness. So whether you're doing that subconsciously or you're actually asking the universe for help with that, but you will come in contact with the people that you're meant to be in alignment with, and that might not be your cousin, your brother, your sister, your family, or anything like that. And that's okay. So there's something to say about healthy detachment, being able to say, I love you for where you are, but, and I'm going to go over here and do something that makes me happy. And I'll come back eventually, but I'm going to go do this. But I still love you. And then also not feel that guilt, and that connects with people pleasing. And if that's a wound, like it's a wound for most of us, that's something that we have to work on.
Yeah.
So I do want to say something really quick about doing the work, because you did mention that in the intro. And it's something that we hear all the time. And a lot of us roll our eyes, and a lot of us say, I am on my healing journey. I'm healing. I'm healing. But it never ends. And looking at it and as something that's beautiful, looking at it as something that's part of this beautiful experience that we're in right now is so important. If you roll your eyes, if you get irritated about doing the work, or on your healing journey, then you know that you still don't look at it in a way that's going to be conducive to your overall growth spiritually.
Yes.
So how would I say this? The work is all about, again, loving every version of yourself that's ever existed. And that's it. That's it. Because when you love her, then you love every version right now and in the future versions. And you could say, you know what? The person who had that current theme of consciousness is the same as my family member, my peer, my friend who has it right now. So if I'm judging them, I'm judging myself. It brings me right back to the same cycle again.
Mm. Speaking of cycles and the closing of cycles,
Mhm.
now when it comes down to us healing and doing the work, when it comes down to like closing these cycles, how can or are there any like signs where we receive where a cycle is closing or we find ourselves in the loop? How do we get out of that?
Oh, I love that. I love that question. It's so funny because I was actually just thinking about bringing that up. So, what's really great about being alive right now is the fact that we will have endless opportunities to make a choice for our highest good. So, let's say, for example, what's a good example? Let's say you chose a job and a certain career and you find out 10 years later that it's just not for you. You're like, well, it took me 10 years, but now I want to shift into something else. And next thing you know, you decide to leave that company and go somewhere else. But you end up noticing that a lot of the things you experienced in the last company are similar to this one. And you're like, damn, how am I back here? Instead of looking at it like, oh my God, I made another bad choice, you could say, oh, okay, hold on, there was opportunities for growth in that company or with that particular person or whatever decision I made. I get an opportunity to remake that decision again to grow. And I think a better example is the people that we choose in relationships, romantic relationships. We find characteristics that mimic the last person that we were with and our new person. We're like, oh my God, I made a horrible decision. What am I doing here? Now I'm pregnant. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, what do I do? So instead of looking at it like that, you say, okay, obviously I learn a lot about myself, but there's still some things for me to learn. So it's not you didn't pass the lesson or the test or something like that. Don't beat yourself up and use those terms. Oh my gosh, don't use that. But it has nothing to do with you being a failure or failing any type of universal quiz. It has nothing to do with that. It's all to do with the fact that now you have even more time to learn more about who you want to be, and you get time to step into that reality. And how else will you do it if you're not challenged?
That is true. That is true. Also with tests too. I
Yes.
feel like sometimes spirit may throw in like, okay, we're gonna throw opportunity that's kind of like the last thing we told her to step away from,
Hmm.
but we're gonna just see. And I have gotten to the point where I would do a reading just to make sure, because I'll be like, I don't know if this is like an opportunity I should go after because yeah, I might want to go back to a 9 to 5 because I need the money. I don't know if I like the job. I don't, but I need the money. And I would do a reading, and then the reading would say, but it's not what you want to do. Like you close this cycle, but you're constantly going back because of lack or scarcity mindset of thinking, well, I just need to run back to what I'm comfortable to because you have this discomfort here on this path that is uncertain because you don't know. It's like a big question mark. You don't know what's at the end. But you have this hope and this faith and this expectation that is going to lead to your happiness and be in alignment to what you dream and your desires.
Yes.
So I've been seeing the tests and I've been like, you know what? You tried to catch me a little bit, but and I've been noticing other cycles of just two of so I know some people who might jump from relationships or from jobs to jobs and etc. I feel like ultimately it is a cycle and it's a loop trying to get you to get into alignment or choose what is more in alignment to yourself. Would you say that?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. No, 100%. There's something else that you mentioned a second ago, and I'm trying to remember what it was. Um, I might have lost it, but no, I completely agree with that. I think that right now it's just all about your intention. It's all about what is your why? Why did you make that decision? Because that's what our guides, our universe, whatever source energy you want to bring up, but that's what they're trying to get you to realize. You didn't make that decision because it just wasn't good for you in that moment. You made it because you have specific intentions and it didn't match that. But now you have an opportunity to figure out what those intentions are. because maybe it wasn't what you wrote down last time or what memorized last time. Maybe it was actually something a little different. You just didn't want to admit that to yourself.
Mm.
So you want to leave a relationship because the person you're with, um doesn't have the finances that you want him to have, isn't a hard worker. But then you realize that your definition of a hard worker is from a place of financial lack yourself, and from a place of fear. So you move into the next relationship and he ends up being the same way. And you're like, oh, wait, I've realized recently this about myself. So instead of me saying, oh, he's mirroring my last relationship, you could say instead, now that I have clarity on what my overall intention is, I can work on that. Because it wasn't his, lack of, wanting to do better financially. It was actually the way that I was looking at it the whole time. Does that make any
Mm.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And is there okay, so with the spiritual gifts, and I'm just going to backtrack, but they also bring into reference what we just got to speaking about. So coming down to like being like an empath and feeling other people's energy and etc. Could that, if we do not have the, I guess, the practice of knowing what's our energy and what's someone else's energy, could that impact our decisions or impact us being in cycles and loops?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And this goes right back to having a practice. And I just want to make clear, when it comes to having a practice, you don't have to be extremely consistent with it. You can miss days, you be thrown off, and maybe you have children. So doing something in the morning just doesn't work, or doing something in a specific time every single day just doesn't work for you. But the practice ensures that one, your ability is strengthened so that you can decipher what's your energy and what isn't your energy, that you have safeguards, shields around your energy itself. And I just want to add too that the strength of the shield is determined by the confidence in yourself. So if there's a crack, the crack is because you don't feel like that shield is protecting you. So if you
Mm.
don't believe it, then yeah, there's things that are going to permeate it. And I want to add that I get a lot of questions about being cursed and being hexed on social media. How can I keep this person from affecting my life virtually? And I'm like, you realize, if you don't believe that it's actually going to affect you, then it's not. And I know it sounds so simple, but just like the movie The Skeleton Key, please tell me you've seen that.
I think I have. I'm thinking of a Netflix show.
Yeah, The Skeleton Key came out in like early 2000s, I believe, maybe mid 2000s. But what happened was the main character was tricked to believe in voodoo, and she was a care nurse. So like a NA, I think they call them RNAs, but she was a care nurse basically to the elderly in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
And she was tricked to believe that there was bad juju happening to her. But the voodoo priest and priestess had to trick her, because if she didn't believe that it was going to affect her, then it wouldn't affect her. So the whole movie, that's what was happening. She's getting, bamboozled. And at the very end, they were able to steal her soul and her body because of that, because she was made to believe that it was happening to her. So maybe not so dramatic. Obviously, I'm not saying anyone's going to steal your body. All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, it comes back to practice and being able to know just how powerful you are. But just like you being powerful, so are other people. So
Yeah.
if you want to keep certain things to yourself, then you have to be able to set up those parameters in order for no one else to permeate it,
Yeah.
penetrate.
Yeah. And also, like you said, if you don't give power to it, I feel like you're fine. And I see that a lot too. When I'm doing readings and they're like, did so and so curse me? Am I hex? And I'm just like, well, do you feel that you are? Did you give them power to do so? Or because I feel like what you ultimately believe and what you give power to will be true. That's why I feel like it's important on how you speak to yourself, how you maneuver, how you speak to other people, what goes on in your mind, your mindset. Because if you feel like you ain't shit, then you're not shit. If you feel that way ultimately, or if you feel like
Yeah.
whatever it because that is your belief, that is your thought. So, hmm.
That's true. I think I want to add something about that too, which is really interesting because, like I said, past lives, we've had different mindsets as well. And I do believe that our past lives do affect our current lives. even when it comes to mindset. So this is where it becomes tricky, because it's like, how do I figure out who I was in the past? How do I figure out how much that person is affecting me now? And that goes into past life hypnotherapy and things like that. But at the end of the day, we still have access to those ancestors. And that goes right back to the importance of being able to strengthen these connections. So one of the things I like to teach is how we can do that. And I do that on a one-on-one level now. I used to have a class, but I really want to focus on the person that I'm with in that moment, because it
Yeah.
does go deep into their experience, and not everyone's okay with talking about it in front of a group of people. So I teach people how to connect with their source energy, because it's important, because of the coming times that we're going into. We are going to be challenged more than ever in deciphering what the information we're provided with is true or not. So we have decision makers in our communities, right? We were told to listen to them. We know now, I think everyone can agree, that we cannot do that.
At all.
So we have to be able to have our own inner guidance system and successfully connect with it and confidently connect with it. And it takes practice. I don't always have the answers either. When I lost my cat, my grief was so much, I couldn't even see her. I still can't really see her. So sometimes that happens. But anyways, going back to what I was saying is, like, it's important now more than ever to learn how to connect.
So for people who want to learn how to connect, we know that you have like the one-on-one sessions
Yes.
and everything, but I'm trying to see the question. I had the question, it just went away.
Oh, it happens.
But oh, when you brought up having a practice, for some people who may not know where to start on like building this practice to strengthen their divine senses, what would be something that you would recommend for them to start a practice? And then maybe you can give us some insight on your own practice.
Absolutely. No, it's such a great question. So the good thing about practice is it can look however you want it to look. I think some people, will go by maybe someone on TikTok that we enjoy watching. Maybe someone's watched my videos and they're like, okay, well, I like her practice. But at the end of the day, the practice is simply practicing being mindful, being present, surrendering. And once you get your mind in that mode, then what you do physically will kind of add to it. But it's not where it starts. So no, you don't need candles. No, you don't need specific flowers. No, you don't need railroad spikes and horseshoes and all these different tools. They're supposed to aid the practice, not be the source of it or the foundation. So what we start with is by simply saying, I surrender to what God has planned for me, or the universe has planned for me. I surrender. I trust. I know that although the skies are gray and it's raining outside, it doesn't mean that there's not magic happening between them or behind them. So that's the most important thing. And when it comes to my practice is I wake up in the morning, and instead of saying I have to do this, this, and this, pick up my phone, check my emails, figure out if I have a reading or not. I keep myself away from my phone, and I say I get to step outside today and put my shoes on and be in, you know, this beautiful air. I get to look at the trees. I get to ground myself literally with my feet in the grass. I get to make my bed, little things. If we could start there, that's specifically what I do, because it starts the momentum of having an amazing day. Because when something goes wrong in our day, we say, you know what, I got to do that. I'm happy either way. And if something isn't happening for me in the way that I think it should, it's just not meant to in that moment. So it starts off with you believing, how would I say this? Everything that's happening for you in this moment is meant to, for your highest good. And that's it. It's simple. I have a very, I don't want to say grassroots, what is it called? Holistic point of view when it comes to spirituality. It starts with you first, and then you can add on to other stuff, all the bells and whistles.
That's a beautiful point of view, though.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful point of view to have, especially being grateful for the little things, being
Mhm.
grateful for the things that we often take for granted. Like I had a moment of gratitude this morning, just being in the shower, and I'm just like, I'm grateful to have water. I'm grateful to just breathe. I get to see my children, I get to,
Mhm.
wake up and do this podcast. I get to do readings. I get to speak to people. I get to help people. And that's beautiful within itself, So that's a great outlook. And I know sometimes some people might have a hard time, changing their perspective or mindset when it comes to showing gratitude to things. But I promise you guys that once you do, it'll help you feel so much better and just realize how supported and protected you are along your journey and
Yes.
what you do get to do.
Yes.
So, all right.
Yes.
I think I have a question that I think a lot of people are going to want to ask. How is it being on the road, like full time, being free? I'm living through you because I wanted to do this. I just didn't know how, and I am not even a nature girl. But how is it?
You know what? It's the ultimate freedom. There's times where I've been lonely. There's times where I've had so much fun that I can't believe that like this is my life. Like how did this even happen? It's kind of unbelievable sometimes because not that long ago I was working a 9 to 5, which is okay, by the way. I'm not saying 9 to 5 is bad, but the job that I had, it just wasn't for me any longer. I did everything I needed to do in that moment, in that time frame that I had it. So honestly, it's kind of surreal, to be honest with you. And although I don't have my travel companion any longer with me, I'm still able to go anywhere I want in the earth or on this earth. And I think that that in itself is amazing. So,
That is.
um, thank you. No, I literally, I'm trying to think of something that, a recent epiphany that I might have had. Um, Probably just the beauty of being with yourself, not by yourself, being with yourself, being able to um, you know, not judge the things that come up. Even when I am lonely and I feel like crying or something, I just let it happen. And then I go back to watching a movie or doing something with my time. There are times when I feel financially insecure because all of my money is made from the readings that I do and from my TikTok lives. Sometimes I want to go back to a 9 to 5 and do something remote. And then I'm like, that's not really me anymore right now. I don't want to do a remote job. I don't want to do anything that's going to keep me from being able to move. So
Yes.
even right now, I'm in a relationship and I'm in Alabama and I've been here for about 2 months now. And that in itself is already a little straining for me because I'm like, I want to leave. I want to go somewhere. I want to go travel again. But I also have this person that wants to come with me that needs me to wait just a little bit longer before you can do
Mhm.
that. So I'm being challenged. And I want to say something really quick too. For those of you who are listening to this and you're not sure whether um, maybe you still use the word coincidence, because I don't believe in that word. I don't ever use it. I tried to leave multiple times to just go do something local. My van got stuck in the mud 4 times.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to be there.
I'm supposed to be here. Let's be real. If you get stuck in the mud, or next thing you know, I don't know, God forbid your car breaks down or something, and you can no longer do what you were trying to do, any type of resistance, I'm telling you, listen to that. That's the universe telling you you ain't going nowhere right now. You need to stay here.
And then you're going to have a new companion that
Yes.
will be there with you on this road and you guys can travel the
Mhm.
world. I feel like that's just really beautiful, and the aspect of having that freedom of seeing the world, and having an option and still being able to live on purpose in your purpose, to
Yes.
follow your calling. And even if there are times of, you know, feeling like, well, I do miss that, but I know ultimately that is not who I am, and still being confident and strong, standing and staying in integrity on your truth and on your path, that is, I feel like, the breakthrough that a lot of people need to hear and need to listen to, that staying on path, staying on purpose, in your purpose, and just letting the coincidences happen. No coincidences. Okay. No coincidences. Letting what's purposeful and what's
Yeah.
aligned and fated to happen. and just
Yeah.
let it flow and just flow with it. Even
Yes.
the resistance, even with the delays, it is all for a bigger purpose and a bigger picture, and everything ultimately ends up being aligned.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't even, if you're like a type of person that's not into the love and light stuff, listen, at the end of the day, when we are in the middle of a war and there's so much chaos happening around us, it's the people who believe in love and light that are going to help us, that are going to be there for us, that are going to be able to, how would I say this? The love and light is going to be the glue that holds us together at the end of the day.
Mm.
So don't judge it. Airy fairy type people, and then you're scrolling through TikTok and you have this gorgeous blonde woman who has all the chimes in the background, and she has a crystal in one hand and a, I don't know, something else, or a sage in the other hand. Those are the people with all that positivity that you're going to want to see when everything else is crumbling around you. So don't
Yeah.
judge it. It's happening.
Like, who wouldn't want somebody whimsical? I'm just trying to see. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like that energy should bring people in, but it is some people that's just like, what? Scroll, you know? But
Yeah, it's just like that's not real. That's not authentic. It's like, man, we're gonna want to see that though. We're gonna want to we're gonna want that reminder that the world is beautiful when we're talking about the closest bomb shelter or something.
yeah,
So
like even in darkness, having those people that shed that light, people are going to be drawn to it sooner or later. You
yes,
will.
absolutely.
All right, so now, Tanisha, I just want to ask you like some fun questions just to throw at you. So, what is your sun moving? No, Lord, what am I saying? What is your sun, moon, and rising sign?
Okay, so I am Aquarius sun, Capricorn rising, and Sagittarius moon.
Okay. Okay. Aquarius and Capricorn. Okay. And then you said Sagittarius moon.
Sagittarius moon, correct? Yeah.
Okay. I love it. For me, I'm Leo,
Mhm.
Sun, Gemini moon, Libra rising.
Ah, okay.
I'm
That's an
like,
awesome mix. No, that's awesome.
oh,
So my partner is also Leo sun, by the way.
really?
Yeah, which is interesting because for my chart, and I think his as well, our south and north node are opposite. So my north node is Aquarius, his south node is Leo, his is Aquarius, and vice versa, basically. So, in this lifetime, my focus is humanitarian efforts and, just loving the world and the collective. Um, and because my past life, I was a Leo. I was the center of attention and I had I was an aristocrat, and I feel that too sometimes. I definitely feel that. And his point of view, I'm sorry, not his point of view, but his life goal right now is to be okay with being the center of attention and the aristocrat and the person that, is the fiery element of the zodiac.
Wow.
So it's just interesting. Yeah, I do love astrology. I haven't gone too far into it. One day I will. I can feel it coming, but it just confuses me right now. So I'm leaving it like that.
It confuses me a little bit too. I feel like the more that I dig deeper, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Now, since you are a dream walker, what is the most unforgettable dream you've ever had?
Oh, wow. Oof. That's a good question. Let me think really quick. Wow, 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 wow. Let's see. I've had some pretty awesome dreams. Oh, okay. So one of the dream symbols that I've had for since the dawn of time is water, whether it be dark water, tsunamis, water that's kind of clear but then becomes darker longer, further out. Water in general. I have a fear of deep water. I'm not a big fan of standing too close to a large lake or anything that will engulf me, right? So, in my dreams, the first thing that happens is if I see it, I know I'm going to end up in it in my dream. And when it does happen, I usually wake myself up right away. Now, the more I learned about my, spirituality, I guess I'll say, the more I wanted to allow myself to be submerged and see what happens. And
Mhm.
my guides were also telling me to stop being so afraid of the water. So I purposely allowed myself to be submerged in my dream. And I realized when I'm looking around this huge sea that I'm submerged in, that there was nothing for me to be afraid of. I see the coral reefs, I see maybe a fish or two, some boulders under the water, but there was nothing there. And then I have this guide, and I have a lot of guides that show up in my dream, but there's one that's in a very attractive white male. He kind of looks like Damon from the Vampire Diaries.
Oh.
Yeah, he looks good. So I'm
Oh. I would have followed him in the water too.
listen, I actually I can't even work with him in my dream because I'm too busy hitting on him. So like he's just like he rolls his eyes like, girl, stop. I'm here to help you, you know? And one of the dreams, he showed up underwater next to me and he's doing this. He's like, see? Nothing to be afraid of. So I started the practice of allowing myself to be submerged. And every time I did, I looked around and something different will happen. Well, one of the times I started seeing I think it was a submarine. No, I'm sorry. It was supposed to be a submarine, ended up being a helicopter underwater. So it was kind of weird. So it was a helicopter underwater, and I was beckoned to get inside. I did. And then we went through a portal. And through the portal, we ended up in some sort of healthcare facility. And me and like five other people are sitting there waiting to be seen by the doctor. Now, as soon as I woke up, because unfortunately I woke up after that, I realized that it was a future scenario of when med beds existed. And do you know what a med bed is?
Mm-mm.
So a med bed is basically kind of like those futuristic movies where there's a bed and it's all electronic and you step inside, you lay down, and then it covers you, and then they press a couple of buttons and every ailment in your body, you know,
Yeah, I think I've seen something like that. Maybe it was just like maybe the head is out, but the whole
yeah,
body is in.
yeah, it basically scans you and everything that you've ever, dealt with health wise is fixed, is corrected. So it's pretty cool. So I had these dreams, and I guess the lesson in the dream itself is to not be afraid of a certain symbol that's happening, to embrace it because it's happening for a reason. And the symbol in your dreams are usually only, they look a certain way based on how much resistance you have toward it. So because I kept resisting being underwater, the water started getting darker and darker. I started looking more monotonous or ominous, I mean. And it got scary. And then when I started opening up, the water became more clear. And then it looked like, the springs in Florida or something, as opposed to, you know, Mariana Trench, I guess I would say. So, other than that, yeah, those are the dreams that were most important. And also my guides were telling me that water is a symbol of healing anyway. So just like being baptized or in certain African cultures, they use water to heal us. So those are for you that are having water dreams. Try to set the intention before you go to sleep to allow yourself to be submerged or washed over by the water. Because I'm telling you, when you do that, you're going to get a whole new message and it's going to change everything.
Wow. Yeah, because when I see water in my dreams too, I'm like, mm-mm,
Yeah, I'm like,
I
no,
can't
that's
swim.
it's scary. It's even in reality, it's just like, whoa, keep that over there. But if we can just embrace the fact that if we're submerged in something, it doesn't mean that it needs to be fearful. We don't need to be afraid of it. That is actually a message inside of it, and stepping on the other side of that and jumping and leaping. So,
Hmm. And that's great that your guys were there, like, okay, come on.
yeah,
Like, let
literally.
me show you something. Ooh. All right, so let's see. What other question? Okay, so one thing about being on the road that surprised you.
Oh, wow. Let's see. One thing about being on the road that surprised me, probably the mix of emotions from other people, maybe. I get a lot of positive feedback about doing this. I think a lot of people, this is their dream. And there are some people that are just kind of like, why are you going against the grain? Why don't you have a home? Why don't you have this? You're homeless. And I've never had anyone say that to my face, by the way. I just want to say that, like, it's not a lot of hate. It's mainly love that I get. But
Yeah.
every once in a while I'll get like a comment on my TikTok where someone's saying you're basically homeless and you're glorifying being homeless. And I'm like, do you realize that homelessness, the definition, yes, is not having shelter. So initially it's not true, but even on a deeper level, homelessness is not having community.
Mm.
So it's all about not having community. And I know I'm kind of going off right now, but then I realized I was like, technically, I'm homeless in a way, but not because I have my community is all online. So I'm not homeless, but I would love to be a part of a van life community. I would love to join someone's
Yeah.
group. So I started, looking into some groups that are looking for people to follow to like travel with them. And I found a few. I just haven't joined them yet. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So to answer your question, it's just what people think in their opinions. I've noticed are it varies from people who secretly want to do this, so they're going to be haters. And then there's people that really, really want to do this, and it might be my video or my conversation with them that actually gets them to that point and, motivates them enough to do it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, guys, don't be haters, okay? Because that's not even what homelessness means. It means community. And if that's
Yes.
the case, a lot of us are homeless out here. And because a lot of our
Oh,
communities are online and everyone's so engulfed in, social media. And because honestly, I feel like that's the quickest way to find your tribe because your tribe could be on the other side of the world. Sometimes I know for me, I connect more with people online than I do really in person and around because sometimes in my surroundings, people are not thinking the same things or, on the same path as me as far as like spiritually. And when I do find myself speaking about spirituality, I'm kind of getting those looks like,
yeah,
what are you
and that's a
talking
new
about?
norm. And it's a new norm. It's not we're gotten past the point of looking at social media as something that is just like a necessity. It's net, it's just a one-off hobby. This is people's lifestyles now. This is part of us.
Mhm.
And AI is making it even crazier. But what was I gonna say? So social media is another avenue for us to be connected, and it has been for a very long time. So we definitely can't look at it like that.
That's amazing. Well, Tanisha, I just want to say you've poured so much light, wisdom, knowledge into the space of spiritually her today. I'm like so happy just to be able to listen to your story, listen to your insight, your guidance on people who may feel lost, disconnected, or just uncertain when it comes down to their divine senses, their path, their dreams, even, and how to connect with the people that we do have and support on the other side in our spirit team. So, I do want to ask one last question. What's one message from your heart or maybe from your guides that you want to leave with everyone today?
Ooh, okay. So if anything I said has resonated with you today, then it is a huge indicator that you are about to enter in a whole new realm, identity for yourself. It's going to be a whole new how would I say this? I don't want to say a new world because then it reminds me of that one song. But your new earth is happening right now, and it has nothing to do with you shifting into another reality. I do want to say that if you're alive today, then you have a job to do, and that job doesn't always pertain to what you want and what you need. That it has everything to do with all of us. And I know that sounds like a lot of pressure and the pressure that you didn't ask for, but that's the truth. So if you know that you have divine senses and you know that you're successfully receiving messages from the other side, then you have been chosen as someone to be a part of this spiritual war that we've been in for a long time. So it's up to you. Again, no pressure, right? Kind of sounds like it. It's up to you what you decide to do with that. And I have flies in here, sorry. What you decide to do with that. So again, I teach people how to gain more confidence in their abilities, how to decipher what abilities, what divine senses they have. But on top of that, I'm on live on TikTok live at least once a day. So if you're not sure about me and you just want to hang around and see what I'm talking about, then follow me on TikTok. Sometimes I go live on Instagram too, but it's usually TikTok. I'm sure you're gonna share some of my links as well. But I would say overall, my message is to remember it all starts with self-love. And if we can just think of it that way, then everything else will fall into place that we want and we need in our life.
Mm, beautiful. Beautiful. Guys, you heard the message. Definitely check out Tanisha and her readings, her insight, her lives. Get the knowledge, get the sessions, get the one on one coaching to really help open when it comes down to being that oracle. When it comes down to tapping in and just
Yes.
living in a divine way.
Yes.
And Tanisha, I will definitely be sharing the links and everything, but for those who want to do the coaching, who
Mhm.
wants readings and etc., if you could tell them where they can find you, the website, your TikTok, and everything.
Awesome, perfect. So, I do have a website, but I have not purchased my domain yet, so it's super long. So, what I'm going to do instead is give you my tag so that you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. It's at Dreamwalker Tanisha, and that's Tenesha. So, Dreamwalker Tanisha. I do want to add one more thing, and that was the importance of realizing how much of a superhuman we are. So the coaching that I have is literally called "How to Become a Superhuman and Awaken Your Inner Oracle." But I really want to push that word superhuman because we are like walking batteries around here. We have so much energy that we can use. It's like we're walking versions of Static Shock, you know? So I do talk about that a lot. That's mainly what I do is, kind of give examples of why we can use or how we can use the gifts that we have, the divine senses that we have. But other than that, let's see. Yeah, at Dreamwalker Tanisha, and I can't think of anything else. And you'll find my website there. You'll find my socials there. It's all on Linktree.
All right, guys, you heard it from Tanisha herself. Guys, I hope that this episode definitely gave you the wisdom, the insight, dropped gems, aha moments for you guys because it definitely has for me. So I know if I felt it, I know you guys felt it. So don't forget to share the episode with someone who needs to hear it, your friends, your family, your soul circle, your spirit team, your soul tribe, guys, anybody that you feel would take the message and actually apply it to their life. And guys, I love you so much. I hope you know that I mean it. And Tanisha, it was a pleasure having